Okay, this is part 2 of homemade motorized drift trike. Part 1 was all about building the frame and building the drift trike, right? This is part 2. Part 2 is all going to be about motorizing this thing. Now, what a lot of people do is they motorize the rear wheels. If I did that, I would not be able to make it up these steep hills. So therefore I have to motorize the front wheel because the front wheel has traction. A lot of people are going to probably say in the comments, why don't motorize the back wheels? Yeah, that's fun to motorize the back wheels if you have like a giant parking lot to ride this thing on, but I don't. I have steep hills, I have roads that are steep. I have like no flat areas, so therefore I have to motorize the front. How? I don't know. All I know is it has something to do with. I'm gonna use this to save money. I'm taking apart the scooter and using the parts from there. I'm using the motor, the centrifugal clutch. I already took the tire off. Here's a tire, and I'm using this sprocket. This is number 34. It's chain and sprockets. So, there we go. I'm using this. So, what I want to do is put the motor right on top, right here, as close to here as possible. It is going to have a little, issue with when I turn. It's going to lean, whatever. I'm going to try to, fix that with, I have no idea how. So, what I want to do is go from the centrifugal clutch to this sprocket, and then that sprocket's going to be attached to here using pillow block bearings. It's going to be underneath the gas tank to save room, and then it's going to go back down under and then go to the wheel. Hope that makes sense. Already, I've bought a bunch of parts for the project, and already it's not turning out how I wanted to do it. Originally, I wanted to use these pillow blocks. Those are the. Can this thing focus? I hate this camera. There we go. This is a Norwalk. I wanted to use these 3/4 inch. They only had one, which really sucked, and I really did not feel like waiting 7 to 10 business days. So I bought these. These are side mounted. So it's just going to be a little more pain to mount these. But, whatever. Weird thing is, here it is, a Norwalk pillow block, but when I bought it and I opened it up, it's not a Norwalk, it's a Peak. Peak air handling. This is a different brand, and it's used. It's really rusty. I don't know if you can see that. So, obviously, somebody bought one of these and put this in this packaging and then returned it thinking that it was the right thing when it was the wrong thing. So, but whatever, it's still 3/4 inch shaft and it still works. So, I can't use that. I'm going to have to use these. These are kind of, I have no idea how I'm going to attach these onto here. So, first things first, making a motor mount for the front wheel. How I'm going to do that, what kind of metal I'm going to use, I'm not really sure yet. I'm just kind of winging this as I go along. I'm also winging the size of the sprockets again. It seemed to work out for the last project, the 50cc BMX bike. It seemed to work out for that. That thing has speed and torque, and I just guessed the size of the sprocket on there. So hopefully it's going to work out this time again. So, without me rambling on for another 20 minutes, let's see if we can figure out a way to put the motor on the top of the wheel without doing anything crazy. Okay, I mounted the motor mount onto here. This is where the motor is going to be. I also mounted this thing. This thing was a nightmare. This was before. This would spin both ways, but it just had to be oiled, so I fixed it. So thank God it's not broken or anything, or missing parts or anything. So that's on there. Now, this is on here. This is going to be the assembly for the secondary shaft. This is actually a lot easier than these bearings. I wouldn't really be sure how to put these on, but you know, I'm actually glad I bought these because this is actually easier. So therefore, what I'm going to do is weld it onto here, and then I'm going to be able to make this pivot up and down to tighten this chain. So if it's too loose, I just push it up and then tighten this, and then push the motor forward to tighten this chain from here to the motor shaft. So everything's going to be adjustable like I always make it, and so hopefully the chain's not going to pop off a million times, and it's going to work. So next steps is I need to weld like struts, or not, I don't know what they're called, like strengthening bars that go from here to here to so therefore I can put the motor on and this shaft to see where I need to put these, and then once I'm done with that, strengthen everything up, and then I don't know the next step. So let's do that. I finished the motor mount and all the sprockets and gears and everything. Everything is where it needs to be. Turns this way, but not the other way. Something I didn't realize is this is going to be really front heavy with the motor. It's going to constantly want to do that when the motor is on here. I had to take the motor off to adjust some things, and again, this is I figured out how to do this whole thing with to make it adjustable. I welded this bar onto here, welded a washer onto here, bolt here, so therefore I'm able to adjust up and down where this goes to tighten this belt, and then I'm going to be able to move the motor back and forward to tighten this belt. So everything is, yeah, see? So everything is adjustable, and it looks nice. It's almost ready for a test drive. Oh, I also finished the back frame. Welded this on, welded that on, and just strengthened it all up. I didn't fully weld it on. I really want to test this thing out. I'll finish welding it on. I've been trying to think of how I could make it to where it's like spring powered, to where you push it there and it springs back to center. I tried something with welding little bolts on here, and then putting like a bungee cord through here, but that did not work. They just snapped. So I'll have to figure out something else to do that. Right now this thing is almost ready for a test drive. I just got to put the motor on. I got to put the seat back on. I had to take the seat off to finish all that. I had put the motor on, put the throttle cable on. There's no brakes right now. Something I realized when I built this, as you can see, here's where the brakes go. This chain is in the way, and yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to put brakes right here. I may be able to put them in the back somehow, just kind of bend them down, and I don't know if they're going to work that well. I may just have to jerry-rig some kind of crude brakes that may not work that well, but they're going to, you know, but I'll figure that out later. So let me put the motor on, let me put the seat on, let me put the throttle cable on, and then we're going to test this thing. Okay, it is almost done. It is ready to test right now. I put the motor on. This is what it looks like. This thing looks really ridiculous, and it's really, really top heavy. The motor leans that much when I turn, so therefore it's probably going to leak gas. Something I also didn't realize is when I'm sitting on this thing, there's the exhaust pointing right at my face. So I'm going to get fumed out when I'm riding this thing. I'm probably going to have to get a pipe, like bring the exhaust down to my feet. I'm also going to have to weld on pegs because I don't have anything to hold on my feet. And I also don't have any brakes. So this is just a test to see if my gear reduction is correct. So this is what it looks like. Quick 360. And I'm going to hand the camera off to Tyler. Look at the gas. Ready? starts.
Well, it's going, but the question is, does it drift? Yes, it does.
You cannot breathe.
And
This thing is on. Holy shit, dude. Wow. How'd that look?
Good.
Sweet. Okay, it is very clear that I need to make a exhaust that aims to the ground. So what I need to do is cut this, go out, go down as close to the ground as possible without burning my foot, because my foot's going to be right here and I need to put the exhaust right there, so that's going to be a little tricky on how to do that. I need to weld on pegs, which I actually just did. These are my pegs, yeah, and I need to put on brakes. That's also really important. And what else? After that, I think this thing is done. This thing is actually really fun. I kind of underestimated or overestimated, however you look at it, how big that sprocket should be. Ideally, that thing needs to be a lot bigger. Excuse me, because this thing right now, as it is, goes really fast. It's at its top speed. It would be dangerous to try to drift at its top speed. So therefore, it doesn't really have that much power, which I wanted power. I wanted this thing to go slow and have power. It doesn't. It doesn't really have that much power, and it is fast. So therefore, yeah, this is part 2. And in part 3, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna like finish this thing and then record the final video once it has brakes and once it has the exhaust, and show you how fast this thing can go. But for right now, I'm gonna, this is gonna be part 2. So if you want to see this thing in action, go to part 3. Go to part 3. So thanks for watching, subscribe, and have a nice day.